what are the latest voices in your ear, Chopper?
Well, I'm reading off my phone here with my WhatsApp, Patrick. This former minister said to me, I didn't really believe in the blob till now, but the events of the past few days, the briefings against Suella Braverman and now tonight's action against Boris Johnson are beginning to make me think again. And that's what's happened. I mean, I know that it might sound a bit, on the left, some critics of the government, I think that the right's gone a bit mad about this, but there is a feeling, I think, what one minister said, or one MP said to me, they feel like they're in the game Pac-Man. Do you remember from the 80s, Pac-Man? With this blob eating up all the kind of right-wing ghosts. But that's what it feels like to them. I mean, it might sound crazy, and of course they're in government, they can affect change, but there's a feeling that there's such a centrist move from the civil service, they feel under threat, and that's why they went a bit balmy last night about this. But they do think there's something in this, and they're getting very, very jumpy about what they see as a kind of, they would describe it as Remainers trying to remove the kind of differential nature of the UK against the European Union, and they wonder why, or what's causing that, and what is the differential nature of being a Conservative nowadays compared to Labour. What's the difference? And that's why I think there's a chance here for Rishi Sunak. I think he's got to put a big arm around Boris Johnson. There's an election now just 18 months away. This time next year they want to have Johnson campaigning for the Tory party in the Red Wall seats because he's such a good campaigner. Currently he's in America. I've been told he hasn't spoken to the Prime Minister Sunak since October. That's not great because he's the best campaigner, particularly of his generation. They want him on the front foot fighting Labour, not fighting each other. It's a mess.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, look, Chopper, as well, you mentioned a really good point there, which is all eyes on Rishi Sunak for how he handled Suella Braverman and just finally, anyway, batting it away, something maybe some people think he could have done a little bit sooner. And surprise, surprise, the noises have all gone. There wasn't a huge amount on it, apart from the odd little quip at PMQs today. If the Prime Minister acts swiftly and decisively and just says, look, I'm not bothering with this, it can go away. You think that Rishi Sunak needs to put a big arm around Boris Johnson? What does he need to do? What does he need to come out and say?
Well, you remember back in October when there were talks just about half or a few hundred yards from here on Millbank between Johnson and Sunak. They were trying to work out, can they do a deal, work together in October. Sunak made clear there was no deal to be done, and Johnson withdrew from the leadership race, even though he had enough MPs to stand against Sunak and probably win amongst the grassroots. Fast forward 6 months, no talks. Johnson's now in America this week, back next week for talks with his key advisors about what's next. But he's upset. He feels the stitch up. He feels he's nearly getting to the end of this privileges committee. Did he lie to MPs over Partygate? Well, that was about to be resolved, we thought, in a few weeks' time. This new investigation, I understand that there's 17 separate diary entries which are being looked at by the Cabinet Office. Some of those have gone to the police. When the police get involved, it means lots of weeks of waiting, investigations. Those questionnaires will be submitted again. Is there any case to answer? 2 police forces, not just one. It goes on. I can see Partygate and Privileges Committee, which is holding Johnson back at the moment, going on until Christmas. And by then, if he gets a ban in more than 10 days, it could be a by-election in Johnson's seat in the spring or around then. I mean, that's a disaster for the Tories looking into a November election. It's really in the PM's interest, I think, to get this sorted out pronto, put your arm round him, be nice to Boris, because Boris is a useful asset for the Tory party. Currently, he's at sea, he's overseas, in a different time zone, and he's cross.
OK, look, Chopper, thank you very much. Can I just quickly say to you as well, we are hearing, from what we can gather, a lot of Conservative MPs have gone to ground on this today, OK? So a lot of them, the usual types who you would expect to normally come out and tub-thump about this, are currently not doing that. What do you read into that? Why do you think that is? Because, this would, as you've said, it's an opportunity for Rishi. It would be an opportunity for the Conservative Party that has been a bit split, to say the least, recently, to come out and get behind it and say, no, look, we're not taking this anymore, OK? We feel like we're being undermined from this faceless blob behind. And I've got to be honest with you, I mean, clearly we're trying to get as many of them on this show as possible, and they're not doing it.
Well, you've had Jacob Rees-Mogg on your clip there, but that's about it. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a feeling that there's no alternative to Rishi Sunak. So why would you go on TV and start saying that there's a blob that's trying to neuter the right of the Tory party? Why do that when there's no actual alternative to him? Boris Johnson can't go anywhere. No one in Parliament behind me is telling me, or not the usual suspects, they are not telling me there are letters going in on Sunak. You can't even do a vote of no confidence in the Prime Minister until October because he's safe for a year under the rules. Therefore, there's no real political benefit from stirring the pot now publicly about the Prime Minister. And that's why I'm on and they aren't.